So many of you guys have asked me personally and through direct message what I use to create car videos. I've received comments over TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all sorts of social media platforms on what I use to create car videos, and today I am here to explain what I use to make what I make. Really quick before we start off this video, I would just like to thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I cannot even begin to explain and express how grateful I am for just that little milestone. I genuinely enjoy what I do, creating car videos and content alone. The support and the love that have been shown towards what I do is just absolutely incredible, and you guys are absolutely amazing. But here's to many more videos to come. Let's get into the video. Us as human beings, we are designed to share our experiences. You don't necessarily need the creative mindset to make a really awesome and captivating video. Anyone, and I mean just about anyone, can be a content creator or an influencer of some sort in what they do. And with how technology has developed over decades, it has given us the option to share in a matter of minutes what we experience. But what I'm talking about is this device right here, smartphones. They have taken over the world, and people now can be influencers and creators like myself and maybe even you. But for the people who are new here and have never seen my face before, my name is Tristan and I create car videos. I like to share and entertain others through social media platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And how I create those car videos is exactly what we are going to talk about today, starting off with the camera. Alright guys, so this is my Sony A6500. This is what I use to create my car videos. Mounted to my A6500 is the Sigma 16mm 1.4. I will get into all of the lenses and do all the breakdown to that here in just a minute. Some of the key features to this camera are 24 megapixel CMOS sensor, which is really great for low light photos and just photos in general. For the video users, this has a 4K recording capability, and it also records in 1080p at both frame rates 30, 60 and 120, which is great for slow motion or just normal vlog style videos. The camera has in-body stabilization, so it makes it really nice and smooth for when we're doing handheld shots like this one. This camera is great for both beginners and advanced users for what is packed into it, and I would highly recommend it for the video users and photo users out there. Alright, so now that I've explained the camera, the lens, the cage, I'm going to talk about my stabilizer setup. So this is my stabilizer that I use. It is an electronic powered DJI Ronin M. This piece of equipment is what allows me to get really smooth panning and pull shots like this one. By the way, this is also a 3-axis gimbal, so it means it can tilt up and down, side to side, and it can even roll. On top there, that is the monitor, and the monitor is ran to the camera from an HDMI cable. This piece of equipment is really awesome to use, especially when you're hanging out of the back of a car, filming another car going like 40 to 50 miles an hour. In the line of work that I do, I would definitely say that this is an essential piece of equipment to use. Alright, so now that you guys have seen the stabilizer, we're now going to go over a few of the other lenses that I use besides the one that is mounted on my camera. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention that the lens that I have on there, the Sigma 18-35, is also adapted with a Sigma MC11. The lens is originally designed to go on a Canon camera, but with Sigma's adapter that they have made, I can adapt it to the camera I'm using now. So that is also another essential piece of equipment. Using that adapter, I can also adapt this Canon 75 to 300mm. This is definitely not a wide angle by any means, and it is a zoom lens, which means when you zoom it, it goes way out and way back in. This is very useful for static tripod shots. It can even be used to take pictures, and it can be used for a lot of time-lapse stuff, which is essentially what I use this lens for. Not necessarily an essential lens, but definitely a good one for those little shots that you need in and out of projects. Coming into the next lens, I have this Sigma 16mm 1.4. This is a prime lens. This is my low light monster and an awesome wide angle lens to have in your camera arsenal. When I'm doing interior shots of people driving their cars, I'm more than likely going to put this lens on just because of how wide open it can get. This one does not need an adapter. It's made by Sigma for the Sony camera or the Sony E-mount. So it's really, really nice and very, very versatile. It's also super tiny compared to the other two lenses that I just showed you. Last but not least, this is my Sony Zeiss 12mm f2.8. This is a super wide angle lens, and I don't really use this a whole lot, but when I do, I use it for big, wide open landscape shots. I think out of all of the lenses that I have, this is probably the most expensive one that I have. This is a really awesome lens for vlogging and all other sorts of stuff. All right, now that we've gone over the lenses that I use, I'm gonna go into some other pieces of equipment that are useful. I'm not even gonna lie, this isn't even something that is mine, that I own. This is just a friend of mine. Shout out to Spencer for letting me use this all the time. This is his DJI Mavic Air, and it is absolutely fantastic. Little tiny drone for getting those aerial shots when I'm doing canyon shoots or just in general, just event shoots. This is definitely an awesome piece to have in your arsenal as a creator. Getting those dynamic aerial shots definitely brings more depth and dynamic into your projects, and I would definitely recommend buying a drone of some sort. But just in case you guys are curious, this is what I use primarily if I ever need a drone. Again, thank you, Spencer, for letting me use it so much. All right, now we're gonna go over some audio stuff. Now, if you guys are ever curious about how I get audio in my videos, specifically cars that are rolling down the road at 45 miles an hour, how I ended up getting that is I have this external recording device from Sony. I'm not exactly sure what model it is. It has a headphone jack and an audio jack, so that way you can plug in microphones, or like a lav mic and the mic that I actually have on my camera. And how I mount this to the back of a car is, if the car has a trunk, what I'll do is I'll use this tri-suction cup mount. I will plaster that to the back of their car, and I will throw this device in the trunk, and then I will run my microphone from this device to this mount point here, and it will capture audio pretty well while I am filming the car rolling down the road. And if we're talking about videos like what you're seeing right now, I just plug my Rode shotgun mic, which is the mic that I use, into my camera, and it gets audio from the camera to capture my voice in a better, I guess, sound quality. Now we're gonna go into a topic of this video that isn't necessarily geared towards the camera, the lens, or the audio itself, but more or less something that's gonna make your workflow a little bit better. That is, of course, if you are doing car videos or eventually want to do car videos. Starting off on this little list, I have some Walkie Talkies. Some of you may not understand just how difficult it is to communicate with people who are driving behind you and who you're trying to film. So normally when I start off my shoots, I like to generally give them like a 101 of how we're gonna film rollers and the shots that I'm looking to achieve. And this makes it all the much more better to communicate with them as they are driving in their loud cars. Creating dynamic shots of switching lanes at the exact same time, or even just getting over in certain lanes, or speeding up and doing flybys, or falling back so that way they come back into frame. That is all because of these right here. 10 out of 10 would recommend if you plan on filming car videos. That, and they're also really just a lot of fun to use. Another thing on that little list is a tabletop tripod. This can actually be essential for just about everything. If you're doing vlogs, if you're doing time lapses, anything. This little tiny tabletop tripod, which is paired with this per gear ball head, I would consider this like kind of like a mounting point or something you can hold while you're, vlogging, or you're doing car videos, walk around videos, install videos. Like that kind of thing is super, super important. Or you could even go to something like what you guys are watching this on, which is an even bigger tripod. Let's see, we'll have to pull the phone camera out so I can kind of show you what I'm filming on. All right, so this is what you guys are essentially looking through right here. Obviously we have the camera, the monitor, the mic, and all that other stuff, and it's mounted down here with a quick release plate onto the ball head. This is a ball head tripod made from K&F Concept. This is a very, very essential piece in my gear list. You can use it to take pictures, you can also use it to do videos like what we're doing right now, but this is definitely an essential piece to your camera gear list if that is, something that you don't already have. This is also another essential piece in the gear list, and that is Polarizers and ND filters. What these are useful for is lighting. A simplified way to explain what an ND filter does is it's like a pair of sunglasses but for your camera lens. If you're shooting in broad daylight or really bright lit situations, these are definitely essential to kind of tone everything down and make everything much more vibrant and shootable. When you're filming rollers in broad daylight, it's best to get something that is really, really dark and that's gonna fit the front lens elements, so that way you get that nice natural look in your videos as you're rolling down the road. Lastly on this list, if you guys do not have the money to spend on a stabilizer like the one that I have over here, a tripod and the mix of a slider, which is this piece right here, is going to make everything a lot better for you and a lot more stable. So if you guys don't know how the slider works, essentially you mount your camera right here, and then what you can do is you mount this whole piece onto your tripod, and then you angle your camera how you want it, and then you can actually slide the camera back and forth to create really nice stable panning shots, which is really, really useful. If you guys are curious on what this one, it's called a Zektai. Right there is the brand name of this one. Also a disclaimer, this is probably best used for a car that's standing still and not rolling. All right, and then also after you get all this really cool camera gear, you know, if you decide to get the whole thing that I have or whatever, you're obviously going to need a camera bag to carry everything around safely in. If you guys are curious, this is my Eve Case camera bag. It is a big backpack. It has multiple compartments. There's a ginormous compartment right here. When you open up the bag, you have a nice slotted interior, so that way you can put your lenses and your camera in here, and then all your batteries in like the other pockets right here and all that other stuff. But anyway, camera gear bag, definitely a must, especially after you get all this new camera gear. All right, so that's pretty much gonna wrap up everything that covers camera gear wise. If you guys are interested on what I edit on and all that other stuff, then we're gonna hop over to the desk and I'm gonna show you guys that. Check it out. Alright, so now that you've got all of this cool camera gear, you go out and film a cool video, and now you want to post it on, you know, let's say Instagram or YouTube. Well, before you do that, you should probably edit it. And to edit something, you need a computer or a laptop of some sort. So I'm going to kind of explain to you what I use and why I use it. So first off, the device that I edit on is this MacBook Pro. I use an Apple laptop. The reason why and being for that is because Apple is really easy to use for one, and for two, it also supports Final Cut Pro, which is only an Apple product. Anybody who I have met who's done YouTube or just content creation for social media have used either iMovie or Final Cut Pro on their Apple product. Final Cut Pro is a much more simplified and much more quicker and snappier editor. Also, once you start creating all of these awesome projects, you know, you start creating more and more content, you're gonna start running out of space. So what I would recommend doing is getting some external hard drives that will allow you to dump footage on them, to edit, to export, and then to save to a dump. I use these two SanDisk 500 gigabyte hard drives, external hard drives. They work absolutely amazing. I've never had an issue with them. They're waterproof and shockproof, which is really cool. But yeah, definitely a hands down must is make sure that you back up all of your footage, because it really sucks to lose a lot of footage, right? If you're on the newer MacBook Pro or even on a PC, you're gonna want a hub. So that is something that you can plug your SD card that goes in your camera or your drone or your audio device. It's going to allow you to plug those SD cards in and then actually get the footage off of the cards to the computer. So this is also a really essential piece. If you get a hub like this one, it has multiple points of input. So I mean, while I'm transferring footage over from my SD card to the computer, I can also be transferring it over to these while these are plugged in as well. But that pretty much explains everything about editing and what I edit on, what I save all my footage to, all that other stuff. You know, it's pretty cool. But anyways, we're gonna hop back over to the tripod over here and we're gonna close out this video. Camera gear does not matter. It is how you use the gear that you already have or the gear that you are going to get. It is how you use it to create awesome, entertaining, and captivating content for your audience. And I'm not even kidding you. Like, there's a guy that I've seen on TikTok who films all of his car videos with his phone and a stabilizer for the phone. So it literally does not matter. You can create content using your phone, using your camera, using a GoPro. Like, there's so many different ways and so many different pieces of equipment out there to use to create awesome content, and none of it matters. It is how you do it that matters. Alrighty guys, so that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys are new here and you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like, and if you're ever so generous, subscribe for new content. In all, I had a blast making this video, showing you guys the ins and outs of what I use to create car videos, both editing and camera gear. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is your boy Tristan, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.